All right, Dr. Katz, good to see you, man.
So good to see you, Dr. Ryan.
Yeah, I'm excited to have this chat. So this thing isn't Evan's thing. It's not Ryan's thing. It's not either one of our things. We've just been talking about doing it for months, but we're both super busy dudes with a lot going on. But we wanted to have a conversation about our profession. There's a lot going on, and we both have very similar views, some different views, but we love keeping that conversation, open. And I think Evan and myself are really needle movers in the fact of wanting our profession to be better. So I'm excited to have this chat with you, bro, and put this out for just hundreds and hundreds of chiros to see, so we can elevate our profession, dude. And that's one thing I really respect about you is all the time and work and effort that you've put into to elevating our profession, finding answers to things that people don't have, and elevating my group in Apex and giving us some of your time and everything that you do, man. And I think two people that are like-minded that come together like that can make even bigger waves. So always
Yeah,
love
me too.
your presence, man.
Well, thanks, man. And right back at you. And it's funny because, you're saying, oh, it's about time we had this conversation. Like, no, it's about time we recorded this conversation.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. We've been talking about this. We've been talking. We
Because we
have this
talk about
conversation
this.
all the time.
Yeah. And I think that's what's great when I get together with you. When I came to Arkansas a couple times and had dinner with you, or, you know, came to one of your groups and talked, is just what we talk about freely. And whether we disagree, we can still talk.
Correct.
And I think a lot of our profession has lost that, where our profession seems to be like, if you ask, well, how do you know that's working, or why is that working? It's looked at as a negative. It's looked at as a
Mhm.
fight. And it's like, no, we should be able to answer these questions, man.
Correct.
So yeah. And, and also I was thinking, because of all the stuff that you and I have talked about, I think if we continue to do this, I think we just need to call it something like chiropractic unscripted.
Dude, I'm telling you, it could be a podcast. You could do so much with it, dude. We could do a ton with it. But
This
yeah,
is unscripted.
yeah,
No scripts.
I have a great example of that. I literally just hung up with my best friend, and he was at this. He's an upper cervical guy and knows the Atlas and C2 and C1, like the way that the occiput sits and everything about it more than anybody I know. Just super smart dude.
Yeah.
And he's one of his mentors going through school is a super philosophically inclined chiropractor. I'm not going to name any names here, but this just
Nope.
goes to exactly the point that we were just talking about. Mentor texts him and says, "Hey, what are you up to this weekend?" And he goes, "Oh, I'm at this orthospinology seminar. I might quote it wrong, but he's at this, AO seminar or something like that." And the mentor like jumps on him about how, oh, they even talk about innate, and do they, it's all science based, and do they even talk about the basis of chiropractic there? And just like jumps on the dude. And I'm thinking like, dude, like this dude is like a third or half your age, and he could smoke you with any knowledge in the spine condition and how to treat it. And you're like dogging him because he was going to this seminar, spending his time and his money, and taking time off work to go to this seminar to like learn and be better to get better results for his patients, because that's what it's ultimately about. And that just like it like just goes to show exactly what you're talking about is like we are so polarized, like super polarized.
Polarized. Yeah, it's yeah, it's unfortunate, right? Because we all know, at least I would like to think, we all, meaning chiropractors, know that what we do is incredibly powerful, what we do is incredibly effective, and what we do can really improve the quality of people's lives. But where I think our profession continues to lose, we win, right? We're still around when the odds are always against us, right? But we are having a hard time to progress, right? And this is I was actually going to do a video, to put on my site, and I recorded it, and it's about this. So recently, I was away with a buddy at this lodge, right? And started talking to people like, "Oh, you're a chiropractor," and they were people there, and there was a woman there who just started to do, she's a medical doctor who's just started to do PRP.
Mhm.
And um, all of the guests, or the guests at least that were around, knew about PRP. They had an idea of what it could do.
Right.
And but even though I talked to the PRP doc and I was like, yeah, we started talking about structure and mechanics. And she's like, oh, I'm like, yeah, PRP can't fix that. Chiropractic can. But the problem is, in such a short period, the medical doctors have agreed on what PRP is. And they've taken it over. And they've say it's going to be for this and for this and for this. And in our profession as a chiropractor, well, what do you do with chiropractic? Oh, well, I yank on people's skulls. I only look at C1. I restore the curve. I only adjust.
Right.
The message to the population is so skewed. And that maybe some people look at that as a positive, but I'm like, why can't we get the public to discuss and acknowledge chiropractic like what they just said about PRP? It's been around for a fraction of the time that chiropractic has. And it's because we can't even have this conversation in our
It's
own
because of
profession without fights.
I think it's because of the standard, right? The standard of which
Sure.
PRP is, there's maybe explained a little bit different, but the baseline of it is the same with the way
Right.
we do. There may be some different philosophies with do we do it with imaging? How do we inject it here or there? But the baseline of what it does and how it works is pretty standard across the board. You don't see like I've never seen a group of MDs arguing about what PRP does. The only thing I've
Well,
seen is like not what it does, but like should you use imaging or how it should be done or made up. But as far as like what it does and what are the effects of it, it's like you don't see that polarization of it.
you do, there is a polarization like behind doors, right? Where docs are like, well, what content or how much concentration should be done,
Sure.
what, right? But the public doesn't know that.
Correct. Even better
They
point.
know, right? They don't know that. So they fight. Some docs are like, hey, I think cortisone works better. The PRP docs are like, no. But the public knows that PRP is now a viable option for neck pain, but they don't talk about chiropractic. And now we can sit here and be like, well, because chiropractic isn't neck pain and let's get off the pain wagon. Like, yeah, but most patients are coming to you and then you can educate them on the healthcare aspects. But the public doesn't know that either, but
Mhm.
they know PRP. And I was like, wow, it's really wild. Like, here we are. And I had this talk with this PRP doc, and I was like, yeah, well, let's talk about the mechanics. Let's talk about this. Like, PRP can't affect that. Chiropractic can, but she's like, oh, well, what do you do? And oh, I work with chiropractors. Oh, they don't do that. Oh, this one does something like this. Well, do you know what that is? And it's like, no, I don't. I know I don't. Like, I don't. But I can go to a PRP doc out here and be like, hey, there's this person I talked to in California. She has a practice. She does PRP. They're gonna be like, oh, okay. Now they might argue, well, what concentration does she
Right.
use? But the public doesn't know that. They're just like, she does PRP. I'm gonna go get PRP.
Right. Right.
We lost. Like, it's wild, man. It was wild.
I will tell patients often and people, and I kind of say it joking, but it's sadly true that you go to 10 different chiropractors, you're going to get 10 different answers and 10 different treatments and 10 different diagnoses if you even get a diagnosis and 10 different recommendations if you even get recommendations.
Oh yeah.
And so
It's
the standard, I think,
it's the standard.
is part of the problem. And because of what we do is so good, we have to raise the standard. We
Right.
have to raise the standard.
And it is wild. Like, so I saw this video the other day, and this chiropractor was like kind of complaining that using the word evidence-based, like, oh, evidence-based, this is all BS. We're chiropractors. We need to. And I'm like, well, first of all, and I made a video on that too, where I was like, well, I was like, let's back up. Like, insurance companies, IMEs use the term evidence-based, but they're using it incorrectly. Because I'm like, well, let's give the evidence. There's so much evidence that spinal pathologies or subluxations are harmful. That's one of the main parts of my site, right? Like, do these real subluxations, do we know they cause? Of course we do. Okay, so why is that evidence bad? And then the other thing is, even if you don't talk about science, that chiropractor is like, well, hold on a second. You're adjusting someone because of why? You have evidence that you can help them. So isn't that evidence-based care? You're feeling their neck and you're like, you're subluxated, and I know that your nervous system isn't functioning. How do you know? Well, I've been practicing and I have evidence that that is true. Well, your evidence, but congrats, you're now evidence-based.
Hmm.
So why is that like that's those are the battles we're fighting? And is science and evidence so bad in chiropractic? I think it just validates what it is that we
You
do
beat me to
more
I,
than PRP.
I think it just gives fuel to our position and argument in our fire. Actually, the evidence does.
Dude,
And
that's the
I love
whole
that evidence you've provided. You
yeah, that's the whole point of my site is like, yeah, like that we understand this can affect the central nervous system. This was published in Journal of Neurosurgery. Use stuff like that. Like it's the evidence, but it's wild, man. And then that's the thing, going off the chiropractic unscripted is what we do is so powerful. I don't even know how you can make a script.
don't get me started.
Everyone is different. Like there's so much evidence. It can't fit in a script. Everyone, like when you
I
come
think
to see me, I'm going to tell you and show you something different than someone else, depending on what you have going on, your history, your lifestyle,
correct.
how your body is performing. Like, man, like, yeah, and I
Yeah,
know you and I talk
yeah,
about this all
and
the time.
I
Like,
think we could
holy
probably
crap.
we could spend a whole webinar just going down the script road. But I will make a couple comments about it without getting too extreme. I had a new client recently asked me something along the lines of, and it was an innocent question, like, well, what do you say here? And what do you say there? And what do you say here? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, put me in the situation, and I would just kind of, I don't know. I just free flow of what's going on and what my recommendations are and what's going on, with them. And one thing that I teach people, and I think you'll appreciate is, and like one of the things I'm biggest on is when a patient comes to see you, is breaking out of this scripted sales funnel approach. That's all that is. It's just the script thing.
Yeah.
It's just a sales thing. 9 out of 10 out of those chiropractors, and sorry to be the ones that we're talking about our profession, but it just is what it is. 9 out of those 10 chiropractors couldn't even tell you what's going on. They're just following their
No,
process.
totally.
It just is what it is. Okay. Now, what what I want for what I want for chiropractic when I die. One day they're going to put me in the ground, and I want to be one of the cornerstones like yourself that elevated our profession and made chiropractors better. And one way that I do that is I simply want chiropractors to listen to a patient. So many things of what's going on you'll get in the consultation. Like go back to school, right? They're
Oh,
real big on your consult. They'll tell you exactly what's going on and what they have with all their cues. And you start going down the road of, anyways, I won't go down with a specific example, but questions are going to
yeah.
tell you so much what's going on. Then examination, okay, possibly some imaging if needed. And it's like we have this whole picture of what's going on. And then if you can take that and you can relay, patient came into you with sciatica, and we can take all the data and consultation, everything that we've done, and we can explain to the patient and educate them, like you're always saying, about why they have that sciatica. Here's what's
Yes.
going on. They're going to listen, especially if you have a product so good as chiropractic that can help them take care of that PRP
Totally.
can't do, right?
No,
And that's what chiropractors won't do. And I don't know if because it's too hard, it takes too much work, and that they need too much more education that they're not getting, or it's like they're just used to a coaching company that just says, here, follow this and do this and say this, and then adjust them and pray that they get better. Or
it'll get better.
like, yeah,
Yep.
like what is the deal that's causing that disconnect? I think it's multifactorial, but like that's what I want for chiropractic. Like it's so simple, dude. It's
Dude,
like it's like listen to the patient, find out what's wrong, tell them what's wrong, explain them their condition and why they came in with what they came in with, and then hopefully you have the tools to take care of that, and then we have a course of care that they follow.
right.
It's that simple. If you'll do that, patients will love you. If you have a fair price for it, and as you get on, your level, we can charge and do even more because we're way more sought after, and it just gets better every single year. But chiropractors like won't do that.
Well, I think also, I mean, look, man, did you work out today?
I did twice.
Okay. Did you have time to work out today?
No, but I made it happen.
You made it happen. And then you did it because of why? Because it's good for you.
Correct.
But that's hard. It takes discipline to do it.
Correct.
And when you do that and you put in the time, you change. Your body changes. Your physiology changes. My whole site, like I'm not the guy to be like, man, I'm gonna teach you some easy things to say. You don't get ahead by doing easy. My site, I did a consult with someone yesterday, and I'm like, look, man, this isn't easy because you need to learn it. I'm not going to give you a macro. Learn it. Listen to the videos I put up. Listen about this paper. Understand, like, do you think, interleukin being released from the disc with mechanical failure causing chemical radiculopathy? Like, you're not just going to say that. You need to know it. So
You
when
have
you
to, I'm sorry to
work
interrupt
out,
you. You have to know it so good that you can
right,
teach it on a patient's level, right?
level, right.
Right.
So that is not hitting snooze and getting up and putting in the work. And my site, like 5, 7 minutes twice a week, listen to a new video, print out, talk to a patient. But in 6 months, you just did another, you know, 30 hours of education or whatever it is. And now it's like working out. Like, okay, I don't have time. The fuck you don't have time. When you're sitting on the toilet, listen. When you're driving to work, listen. When you're watching that stupid Netflix show, listen. Getting better in your life takes constant effort and a grind. And in our profession, like, yeah, it works so well, you can be lazy, right? That's the beauty of chiropractic. It works that good, right? It's still people that are lazy are still getting people better, but they're not getting ahead in their community. And I'm trying to get our profession ahead in the community, like the PRP that just started a couple of years ago, or however many years ago. Like, if we educate like all these patients, like we had like 4 new consults today, and we have a referral only. We're not in insurance, and I was going to ask you this question just for fun, like why were they there? And then how did they find you? And what was the, I don't want to say weird because that's terrible. But what was the wildest condition you heard of today with one of your patients? And to your point, like take the time and listen. Consultations are fascinating. Like everybody, like you think subluxations only cause pain or this or that. Like, dude, the amount of different stuff is wild. It's wild in my body. I had a lady today, like one of her things was like, and she came in with her daughter, dude, she can't even like any little bit of wind on her ears hurts her ears. So she, even when she's in the mall, she has to have a scarf over her head to block the wind on her ears from walking. And I'm like, wow, that's wild, man. Right? But like you said, if you didn't take the time to listen, like, whoa, what else is happening here? And then you look at her body and you're like, all right, well, how is the nervous system affecting this? What's happening? What are some pathways and come down? And that's the beauty of chiropractic. But you can be lazy and then you're going to be selling and paying all these SEO guys and marketers more than you're making to try to get people in your door, or you can grind and learn and educate one person at a time. And that slow growth, like working out, your practice will be ripped with abs.
Trademark that.
You know
Trademark.
what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But
absolutely. It's a perfect
that's the great
analogy.
thing. Yeah, it's the great thing with chiropractic is it works so well you can be lazy. But imagine if you're not lazy. Like, man, that's the difference between a person who just, gets in and goes through the motions and the person who's like grunting to the last rep and see how their body changes. Same with our brain. Get out there and grind.
I'll show
You
you
know, it's
something. I think you'll like this. I don't think this was the seminar that you came to. I think this is the one after. What I did is I made a spinal expert study checklist from
good.
April 7th to December 31st, 2025, Monday through Friday, no weekends, 15 minutes a day, every single day planned out with what the client needs to read about for 15 minutes to be a spinal expert between April and December. And it's got lumbar lordosis and biomechanics. And I'm
Better
making
have the
a point
stuff
with
on
this,
there
I
for my
promise.
site.
Oh, of course I got your stuff, some of your
Yeah,
stuff on
like
there.
it's right there. Don't
Yeah.
reinvent the wheel, my man.
No, yeah, but But I've got some of your stuff on here, and I just every little thing, and I gave it to every single client, and I still sit on my desk. All they have to do is look at the day, read it for 15 minutes, check it off, and then by December they are like on a whole nother level, right?
Yeah.
How many of them did
Yep.
it? Not
None.
fucking one. Excuse my
Yep.
language.
Well, look, man, I have people that drop off and I say, like, oh, I'm not using it. I'm like, you're not learning every day? Like, dude, I can't imagine running my practice without. Like, why do you not want to learn about what you do? Like, it's wild to me. But again, look, man, I get it. Like, life is hard. Practice is hard. When you get done, you want to be like, all right, I have patience. That was good enough for me. And it's not just about that. It's like, at least for me, and maybe I'm just different. It's like, man, I would get bored. If I didn't learn something
Exactly.
new every day, I'd get bored, man. I'd be like, well, I mean, look, there's some days I'm like, man, I'm unplugging, I'm chilling. I don't want to learn anything today. That's okay. But
Right,
like,
of course.
but man, you got to
Gotta be
grind,
earned.
Like,
Has to
I
be
mean,
earned.
if this is our profession, right? We're
Right.
professionals.
Sure.
I believe our patients, like, and that's the thing with the guy, like, oh, evidence-based, aren't we? Like, don't you think our patients want to know that you're informed, that you're comfortable with this, that you understand what they have? Like one of the ladies said to me today, she's like, is this she got referred in. She's like, all right, all this, is this something that you're seeing? I'm like, yeah, yeah, let me show you. Like, let me show you out, 100%. Let me show you why I think this is a problem. Let me show you, boom, boom, boom. And like, oh yeah, but it's like, it's fascinating, man.
And if you can go, here is why you're feeling what you're feeling, and here's what's going on with you, and here's the tie between those two things. And most chiropractors, they can't do that.
No, man, dude, that's why so many hate me. It's because I ask questions. I'm like, and that's why I love you. It's like we sit and we talk. And like I've also been around really wonderful people where, I'll never forget this. I said to someone, this doc I really respect, and I said, yeah, and the patient had this and like blah, 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 right? And he looked at me, he was like, no, I don't know blah, blah, blah. And he was like, you're asking me a question and you're not giving me information. Like what's blah, blah, blah. And I was like, that's a really good point, right? Like, no, I want to talk to you, right? And I want every patient and I want you to challenge me. I want to challenge you. And it's not because I'm trying to prove you wrong. It's like, hey, if
Mm.
you can't answer that, let's see if we can find that answer together. Or if that answer hasn't been answered, or that question hasn't been answered, like maybe we can find the answer to that question. And now our profession now has another link to link together. And that's, like you're never going to upset me by challenging me, but a lot when you and I talk, if we talk to other chiropractors, like, okay, well, how do you know that? Like, well, how do you know that's the problem? Well, oh, can you feel it? Like they get mad. And it's like, well, man, I'm not arguing with you. I'm just like, I'm wondering, one of the biggest things I got in trouble for, and I made another video about it just because I was like, yeah, let's bring it. Is you were talking about the upper cervical, and man, upper cervical is super powerful. But all right, so let me ask you this question before I get over cervical.
Yeah.
So, what is your definition, right? And
Of
I want
upper
to ask this.
cervical?
No, 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 of this.
Oh,
Do you ever hear and see chiropractors say we give a specific adjustment?
oh God.
What is that? What is?
I don't know. I don't even know how
Okay,
to, I don't know how to say,
what does
I
that
don't know how
mean?
to define that
Do you know what that means? And I'm not
this has been looked at plenty of
because
times.
when I ask people who say that, they get mad at me. And they're like, oh, it's with the intent purpose of a specific. I'm like, well, what does that mean? I'm like, well, how do you know you're that specific?
Like I have an intent when I adjust somebody. Does that mean I'm specific?
Right. Like, and how good is that intent? But so I put up a video of my finger on the
Oh,
DMX.
oh, I saw it, dude.
Did you see that? So I
That
just did
rattled
another one.
that
I didn't put it up yet. And I'm
that
like,
rattled some feathers.
yeah, dude,
It ruffled some
I
feathers.
almost got like death threats. And I was like, no, no. I'm like, right? Like, but the thing is like, look, man, I say I adjust C1 too. But what I got from that is like, look, man, not once did I say that it doesn't help people. But maybe it's because of something different than what we see or what we think. And wouldn't it be cool to figure it out? But they're like, no, it's I get right on that and it's this. And I'm like, well, you
Well,
can't get on that.
it's not, yeah. Yeah, I get
So what is
I what you want.
so again, it doesn't negate your outcomes. But I'm like, well, shouldn't we question that? I mean, why is that? And like, dude, if I was going to say, hey, I've got this needle here and I'm gonna put it right here, and then you're like, whoa, how the fuck you know you're gonna be there? And you're like, I just know. Nobody, nobody would allow that to happen,
No.
right?
Right.
So then you'd be like, whoa, wait, and then the person's like, oh, well, it's because we're gonna take a couple of fluoro, we're gonna get placement, and we're gonna know we're in the spot. Like, oh, okay, yeah, then that seems a little bit better. But I'm not questioning why you're doing it. I'm just questioning, you said it's going to be specific, but is it?
I think in chiropractic, when we're taught something, we just accept it with no question and it becomes our end all be all. And if somebody challenges it, it's like, ah,
Like you're anti-chiropractic,
Yeah, and it's not. I think wanting to have a deeper knowledge of what's going on just means you want to be better. And
right?
asking those questions and wanting to be better doesn't necessarily mean there's a problem with a different method, which there is with many of them, uh, but
That's for another time.
yeah, like we can't even go down that road. But it's like I trust me, I came from a much more philosophical, different background when I was first getting into practice that is wildly shattered now that I know what I know. And once
Well,
you know what you know, like you cannot go back to it. And I think just craving more knowledge, it's just because you want to be better at what you
you
do.
just
And
want to
it's
be
not even
better.
really for you, it's for the benefit of your patients, is what it boils down to.
Yeah. And it's kind of like, do you remember so I went to Life West, which I actually loved that school.
Yeah.
But they had spa day, right? I don't know if they still have it. It was science, philosophy, art.
Okay.
Did you ever
No,
have
I
that?
went to Logan. We didn't have that. We didn't have that.
Okay.
We didn't have that there.
Did you hear a spa day? Is that like a chiropractic thing or is it just a
I
Life
have
West
no, I
thing?
have no idea. I
I
don't
don't
know.
know.
Logan was a
But I
great school too. I loved Logan. Logan is great education, great school.
Yeah. And I was like, I think it should be spa day. And they're like, why? I'm like, well, we have this philosophy that chiropractic or subluxations affect the nervous system, but that's now that philosophy has been proven by science. Why is that still philosophy? And that's the whole point of my site. I'm like, here's the evidence that suggests that that does irritate the vessels to the cord. That does cause this. Like, why do we think that our philosophy is abnormal a subluxation, abnormal spinal mechanics, whatever, leads to bad health? That's not a philosophy anymore, man. It was 100 years ago when we didn't have imaging and we didn't have research. But I was like, shouldn't it be Sade? Like that philosophy, and that's the whole thing. What I teach these docs, like evidence-based, that philosophy, we have evidence and a lot of science to suggest that it's not a philosophy anymore. It's
Mm,
science.
mm.
And I was like, we should just call it Sade.
Dude,
Like, give me a
so
chiropractic
good.
philosophy that you can't validate with research right now.
Yeah.
Right? When when the Palmer's like, man, we didn't really have MRIs, we didn't have fluoro, we maybe had some X-ray, we didn't have like science and labs and surgeries that you could look at. Like, no, man, that that and that's the beauty of chiropractic. That's how far we are. And I do think there's still some philosophy stuff we don't, there's a lot of stuff we don't know. But a lot of the stuff that we say in chiropractic, like, oh, if we adjust you, we can get better blood flow to the brain. We can reduce nervous interference. That was like we had an idea. And that was our philosophical beliefs because we didn't have the evidence to prove it. But we do. Now, it's 2025, man. Like, yeah, there's Journal of Neurosurgery. Dude, this huge study that just came out of New York University and University of Virginia, I think, and a couple others, like, they're like, okay, the sagittal alignment causes degeneration, vascular disorder. What's one of the main factors for poor outcomes. That's a subluxation. Like that's not that was our philosophy that's now proven with a lot of science. So like why are we still like name something in chiropractic philosophy that there isn't science to right now? Like I mean maybe you could argue a little bit of like the immunity to some degree because maybe the science hasn't really had we don't have the science to show that as much, but like name like okay, when I was in school, the philosophy, oh, I believe this is good for your health. Yeah, don't you think like better function and less tension on the nervous system, better blood flow, that's been proven to be good for our health. So okay, well, I think we showed the plot,
The
like
other
the
the other
science has shown
thing the other thing that I see too that I think is ever so ironic is we're kind of put into two camps. If we really want to get into it, right? So you like politics, you got red and blue, and chiropractic. I feel like you kind of got the same thing, right? Well, of course,
totally.
there's other stuff, but it's like you are all philosophically in tune, or you are all evidence based or whatever. And it's like I think we like all have it right. We're just like we want to just stick in like these one camps, right?
Well, so I don't talk to patients about politics, right?
Right.
Like, I mean, every once in a while it comes up and,
Right,
if
right.
you're
Yeah, but
on
it's just
the
one thing
same
you don't
page or
bring in the
something.
office. Yeah, yeah.
But I will say, and tell me if you think that you're in Arkansas, it's a little different there than
You know
here.
how it is down here, man.
Yeah, and dude, I need to come back for that White River because we got flooded. I need to fish out in
Yeah.
Arkansas. Arkansas was awesome. But one of the things that I found super fascinating, when especially like during the election, was I had very liberal and very conservative patients. And they would talk about their stuff. And I was like, and I would just listen, just like, okay, they would talk and I'd work on them and talk to them about stuff. But then I was like, at the end of the day, they're really not that far apart. They
No.
all want something similar. They
Right.
want to be safe. They want a roof over their head. They want to be cared for. They want, right? And I'm like, the separation is picking a team,
Mhm.
right? To some degree. And I was like, wow. And I remember talking to my wife about it. So I'm like, wow, it's really fascinating. Like
Mhm.
behind closed doors, when they start to talk, you're like, yeah, you have this view, but it's the same view as the other person, just kind of a little bit different angle. And I feel like that's what chiropractic, like, I'm like, look, man,
Oh,
I totally agree with your philosophy of chiropractic, but there's science for that. So why, but then you hate the evidence-based chiropractor, but like the evidence is why it validates your philosophy.
we just go.
Yeah. And then we just fight. And we're fighting about
So,
pretty much the exact same thing.
yeah, to give like a more specific example and to get really literal with it and even more ironic, that's actually comedic to the point. I actually sent somebody a text to this. Some guy I went to school with, super smart guy, rehab guy. Um, And I said, you know what's ironic? It's kind of funny. When we were in school, it was like, you're this philosophical type chiropractor, or you're
Yeah.
this rehab, like evidence-based.
Right, right, right.
And I said, but now that I'm out in practice, I said, here's what I see. I see all the philosophy chiros. They're like buying decomp and soft waves, talking about all the evidence to validate it, right? And then you
Right,
rehab, come see me whenever you want. You don't need that many visits, guys.
right,
I like prescribing treatment plans. And I was like,
right.
you guys are doing the same
Dude,
thing.
I know.
It's just so funny.
Dude, it's true. And it's like we just can't sit down and talk because when you ask a question, a lot of the time in our profession, it turns into a fight. Like, oh, well, it's because, and I'm like, well, not really. Like, or yeah, really. Like, why can't we talk about this?
Well,
Like, why? Yeah.
I will get a little bit more specific because I do have, or a little bit more bold and to the point on that point, and I don't care taking any heat from it. And it is chiropractors, it is much easier for them to cop out. And this is what I mean by that. If you are stuck in this is one way, one size fits all, fix all, guess what? You never have to be challenged. You never have
No,
to think about anything. You never have to explain anything different. And you never
it's
have to
easy.
use this,
It's easy.
right?
Right. It's easy.
So that's the
And
thing about chiropractor.
I'll take it a step further, right? So you have that part, and then you have the financial part. And you have someone that says, hey, I'm only going to adjust this way, blah, blah, blah. And then they learn that maybe there's something more. Maybe there's something that they could do extra. But then that means they have to change their business model. And that's scary.
Oh. You mean they might have to get a different coach because, or consulting company because what they do doesn't, what they were taught and paid for all those years is different?
There's more. And then that is scary because they're like, well, wait, I could do more. And then maybe that now challenges my philosophical beliefs and my friends will get mad at me. But like, it doesn't change your philosophical beliefs. You're improving on your philosophy to remove subluxations better or more effective. So I think that's what it is. Like, man, once you know, you know. So you either have to and this is what, like, dude, I'm going to court in 2 weeks on this case, and like, it's the same thing with IMEs, right? It's like, okay,
Hmm.
the evidence-based IMEs, right? The docs that are selling themselves to insurance companies to
Hmm.
say that, oh no, they should be better is you have two options. You either 100% truly believe that
Hmm.
people don't get hurt or people don't need care, right?
Right.
Or you know it and you're lying to just make a buck. So either of those two, you need to excuse yourself because you're no longer a healthcare provider. And that is true in any profession, whether it be dentistry,
Hmm.
neurosurgery. If some neurosurgeon's like, look, I understand that there's a new method out that can decrease infection, but in order for me to do that, I have to buy something new or change something. Um, now, once you know it, you either have to convince yourself that you don't need it, that it's not as good as they say, or you're just gonna ignore it. And either way, you have to answer that question, right?
Ooh.
Like, why? Yeah. And that's what
Yeah,
I say in court
I,
all the time. Like,
I love stuff like that that changes the way I think about something, the way I view something, and my whatever philosophy at the time of something is,
yeah,
because it's like it's just I enjoy that. Like I enjoy that
I love it.
challenge.
I'm like,
I think a
oh,
lot of chiropractors don't.
no, dude, it's what keeps me going.
Yeah.
Like, man, I don't know. Like, I tried this, and I'll consult with my friends that do things differently than me. Like, hey, man, maybe this isn't working as well. Have you tried this? Let me see. Let me look at that. But if you're just like, this is it. I'm not gonna image. I'm not gonna look at this. I'm not gonna adjust above or below a certain level because that's my strong philosophy. But then there's evidence given to you that might give you additional information and you choose to ignore it or you choose to not accept it, that's on you. Right now, explain to me, why was that not good enough information? Like, why did that not change your thought process a little bit? Oh, I think that study was bullshit. Well, why? Well, I just do. No, that's not an answer. Right now, you're just right. So that's where our profession has come. It's like, man, no technique is under attack. Like, maybe we need to know all of them, right? Maybe we need to,
I
you
wouldn't go that
know,
far. No, I'm just
I
kidding.
won't go that far, but you know what I'm saying. It's like once you know, man. And
Yeah.
that's the whole point of what I try to teach is like, don't you want to know this? Like, don't you want to know this? Like, not just be told what to say, but don't you just want to know this? Because once you know this and you have the information to share, you're just educating and informing your community about the powers of, and this is terrible too. I'm at the point where like I care about chiropractic truly, but I'm like, man, I'm gonna have to just start focusing. If the docs don't want to log on to the site or they're not using it, like I'm just gonna have to start focusing on my practice because I care about my patients. You don't want to spread the word? Cool. Like I don't get tired of having a busy practice and patients saying to me, how come no one else has done this or showed me this or explained this to me? Yeah, I
I
don't
love
know. It's
that.
great for
That's one of my
business.
favorite thing patients say. And I
Hmm.
love it. Nowadays, when or the average patient that comes to see me has seen 2 to 4 chiropractors.
Oh
I've
yeah. How come no one
stats
else
on it.
is?
And I love it because it's just like this is gonna be sad because I'll see on the list who they saw. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be easy, you know. Not like I'm trying to set them up just to sell them a care plan. What I mean is like this is gonna be
No, no, I totally know what you mean. You're
convince
like,
them of
oh,
what they need to do because the standard of what they got was so bad before because I know
so
every guy that they put on that sheet, I know exactly what they do, what they said, and what they recommended. They recommended 3 times a week for 12 weeks. 2 times a week. They recommend the same thing they recommend to everybody. Not that that's
yeah.
may not be a valuable, option, but it's the same thing they recommended to everybody, the same modalities, the same price. And it's just like, I'm gonna knock this out of the park, you
So,
know?
dude, I had another new patient today. I'll talk to you off about this person. but she's flying in from Oregon, right? And we saw her today. She got DMX, and then she's like, "Oh, I'm just gonna fly out for care or stay for this and that." And I was like, "Okay, well," she's like, "Look, but I've seen chiropractors for 10 years." And I was like, "Awesome. Like, well, I saw them 3 times a week for blow." I'm like, "Cool, what they do?" I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, and for anyone listening, whether it's professionally integrated docs, people look Apex, I love working with Ryan. You want one of the most powerful questions you could ask a patient? I'm going to give this to you right now. Dude, this is my all-time favorite question. So if you use this in your conferences, you just got to give me credit for it. So when patients come in that have seen a bunch of people, I don't care if it's chiropractors, neurosurgeons, whatever, I got this going on. I'm like, okay. I'm like, and dude, this is exactly what I say. I'm like, I am not here to test you. This is in a sense a little bit of a test of your providers. But can you tell me what's wrong with you?
Ooh.
And I just sit there and I look at them and they're like, well, my neck. I'm like, no, no, I know your neck hurts. Has anyone told you why? And dude, I'm like, you've seen 15 people and you've been going for years. And that's all I ask. Has anyone explained? Can you tell me what's wrong with your neck? And 99, I won't even say 9 times out of 10.
That's 100%.
Nine,
100%.
I would say 99 point. Every once in a while, I'm like, oh, damn, awesome. I was like, who'd you see? I was like, oh, awesome. And then I like know the person.
Ah, gotcha.
Right. And I'm like,
Fair
oh,
enough.
yeah,
Fair
hell
enough.
yeah. I was like, oh, they're awesome. Right. But 99.9 out of 100, they're like, I, I, I'm like, no, no. What has, because one of the goals here is not just to get you better, but I want to empower you and educate you on what your condition is. Because if you don't understand it, you don't know how to make it better or what you're doing to make it worse when you're not here. So like, no one's told you? And they're like, no. I'm like, okay, well, we're gonna change that. I want you, I want you to know. But it's wild. It's wild. You're coming here 3 times. You went to that person 3 times a week for 4 months, and you don't know what's wrong. Like, how is that even?
That
I would
must have been a damn good script.
do. Well, they just get in like, no, they told me that if I do this, it's gonna help.
Oh.
And then they go, and then now she's flying in from Oregon, and we do
I
consults
won't go
and
down
out of
this
state,
road too
like
much, but I think one
crazy.
could argue that that was malpractice.
Well, I agree with that, but malpractice is outside the standard of care. That is standard of care in chiropractic, dude. The standard of care is low, right? That's malpractice is you either do something knowingly, intentionally wrong, which we can get into a crazy conversation about that, or is it outside the standard of care? And what's the standard of care in chiropractic? See someone 3 times a week, adjust whatever adjust is, because the adjustment could be holding a copper rod and barely touching someone's butt to drop table to, adjusting C1. Like, explain to me what that means too. Like, I'm adjusting it,
Fair
but like,
enough. Good
yeah,
Lord. But
yeah, man.
listen, man, I didn't realize how much time had went by. I didn't mean to be
I
rude,
know.
but check. But it seems like we only talking about 15 minutes, but it's been damn near an hour. So
Yeah.
here's what I'll end with, and I'll let you end with whatever. I think it's really cool how complimentary we are of each other. You've got all the research, you've got all the data, the papers that you've written, and it
How to
articulates
do
it really well.
exams, videos.
I
Yeah,
mean,
man. Show
literally
you how.
everything, the specific of that. I have some of that, but nowhere even near in your league. What I have is, and I think this is the inception of a lot more of these videos and just a lot more ideas and things to come, is I've got the systems.
Right.
Here's how you run the office. Here's how you build out a room. Here's how,
Yep.
here's how things flow. Here's how you price things. Here's how you put those plans together with what you're going to do with the patient. Here's how you hire staff. And I think those two things are
Dude, the
just
two things
like
together are crazy.
peanut butter and jelly, baby.
Like you do the business side, I'll teach the docs how to educate and care for the patients. Like
Yeah.
it's unstoppable. It's
Well,
unstoppable.
you already know, I tell every single one of my clients, and most of my clients, definitely half of them are members of your site too.
Yeah, again, some jump and I'm like, why? They're like, I'm not using it. I'm like, okay.
Then
And
they
that, and
call
that,
me. That don't even
and
work.
that's on
They're gonna
me.
call
Like
me and they're gonna be like, "Oh, how do I get more personal injury?" It's like it doesn't work like that. You get good
get
at
your
something, and then it
patients.
finds you.
And then it finds you.
You
Right.
don't like. Well, I tried the site, and I'm just gonna call an attorney and take them out to lunch, and and play do whatever they say, and it's just like, yeah, well,
But again, a lot of those people too, they're hitting snooze, man, and they're not working out, right? It's like they're not putting in the grind, man.
Yeah.
You need grit. Like you want to be good, you need grit. Like you can get all the marketers you want, and yeah, you're going to spend a lot of money on marketing because patients aren't. I mean, that's my whole argument with some of those docs I've talked to with the scripts. I'm like, well, why do you have to keep selling? Why do you have to keep advertising? How many patients have you seen over the last 15 years? None of them are referring to you? Like that's weird. That's not weird to you? Like why is that? Why are you spending
The
more money?
reason patients don't refer to you is because of only a few key factors, but the main one is they don't know what you do or they don't trust you or like you.
Right. Yeah, and if you how are they gonna trust you? They ain't even told what was wrong.
A patient should get done in your office and you don't have to do any like little referral game, referral sayings, referral this.
Tell your friends.
Holy shit. This guy just blew my mind. Everybody I freaking know needs to come see him because I know Betsy has that problem with their neck. John
Yeah.
has the problem in his low back. You know,
I keep seeing
Dave's got
Mary
the
popping
problem in his
pills
knee.
or a card game for headaches. Like I'm like this,
Right.
you need to go see my chiropractor. You know.
Exactly,
But
exactly. So, man, I think
yeah,
this is a just
let's keep
a
yeah,
slight like I think this is just a like a inception of a lot of things to come, whatever that is. More of these talks, more webinars, more things together, seminars together.
totally.
I've just got so many ideas. It's just there's not enough time in a day for guys like
Well, we'll
us,
get
man.
into it. Yeah, chiropractic unscripted.
Dude, dude, like that's it right there. That's
That's
the
it.
podcast. It'd be like the
That's
number one
about it.
podcast in chiropractic in probably 90 days. Like it
Let's
would be
do it.
so controversial. It would be so awesome. We'd have
But
awesome
thought
guests on
provoking.
there. What's
Yeah,
that?
thought provoking.
Dude, we could just like do one of these once a month
Yeah,
and
bang
just
it
put it
out.
on the podcast. Boom, done. You know,
Done.
or when we had some free time. But I need to come up there and go fishing, dude. That's what I want to do.
Dude, you're welcome anytime, man. I'm hoping me and my buddy, we're probably gonna come back out because we got, blown off that river. But anyway,
Yeah.
let's
All
stop
time.
this and we'll talk off
Yeah, yeah,
camera.
yeah, 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 yeah. All right, man.
All right, everyone, thanks. We'll do this again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So